If you've ever wished there was a better way to configure Betaflight in the field, this video is for you. There's lots of different ways to configure Betaflight in the field, such as the on-screen display, Lua scripts if you're using a Tyrannus. You could bring a laptop with you, heavy, you're going to wreck your expensive laptop. Or you could use smartphone apps, and there's a few smartphone apps out there that can do it, but none of them really work great. They're kind of clunky to use, they don't look great, the Bluetooth connection is constantly dropping, bleh. Today I'm going to show you a new app for configuring Betaflight from your smartphone. It's called Speedybee. It's pretty freaking good. Stay tuned. Let's get right to it. This is the Speedybee app. It's made by Runcam, and it's used with this, which is the Speedybee Bluetooth adapter, to allow you to wirelessly configure your flight controller. Now, I've got it hooked up to this flight controller just here on the bench. I'm going to show you how to wire it up and configure it in Betaflight a little bit later in this video. But I want to start by just showing you how freaking good this Speedybee app is, and specifically how good it is when it's paired with the Speedybee adapter. You know, Bluetooth adapters on quadcopters are nothing new. I had a Bluetooth adapter way back when on my old, my multi-week quad the very first one I built, and it was really flaky. You had to pair it, you had to unpair it, it kept losing its bind and dropping out, and serial it was a real hassle to use. This Speedybee adapter is designed for use with the Speedybee app, and it's pretty seamless. So far, the way it works, and pretty much every time I've used it, is you start the app, you hit scan, and if the Speedybee adapter is within range, it shows up here in the device list, and then you tap to connect, and it just connects. And notice, by the way, that when I connect, this blue light comes on indicating that we've got the connection, and here we are. Ta-da! We are now going to configure Betaflight. And I want to just let you look at what's in this app, because it's not a 100% complete Betaflight configurator, but it's the closest that I've ever seen in any mobile app. And I think that's pretty darn impressive. Not to mention the interface just looks pretty good. So we've got here the basic stuff, the readouts from the setup tab. We've got the arming, disable flags, battery voltage, all the things that you normally see in the setup tab, and the ability to calibrate the accelerometer. And here the icons on the side are the same as you see in the Betaflight configurator. So a lot of these interface elements are very common, very similar for you. Here in the ports, we've got the ability to configure all the ports, just like we do from the web browser. Here is the configuration tab. Okay, set the mixer, basically. And as I scroll through this, all of this is going to look very, very familiar to you. You can see all the options that there are to play with. If you want to download this app for your phone, and it's available for Android or iPhone, you can download it, and there's actually a demo mode. You don't even have to get the adapter to download it and play with it and try to, just look at what is available in the app. OSD, oh, very nice. You can even drag around the OSD elements. Oh, that's actually is the first time I saw that. That's really cool. Really nice. Really nice. Installing the Speedybee adapter is pretty easy. It hooks up pretty much like any other serial device. On the back side, the pinout is labeled. We've got a plug here, and you've got ground, power, which can be either 3.325 volts, so that's nice. If you've got a 3.3 volt output and you want to use it, you can. Receive and transmit, and those are going to get connected to the transmit and receive pads of any spare UART on your flight controller. It does need to be an uninverted UART. If you're using an F4 flight controller, it has some UARTs inverted for S-Bus or SmartPort. It needs to be just a standard uninverted UART, and as with all serial devices, TX is connected to RX on the flight controller, and RX is connected to TX on the flight controller, so they flip over. And then we've got this other one here, which is BLE switch, and that is used to turn Bluetooth on and off. We'll talk more about that in a second. So you can see you could do a heck of a lot of Betaflight configuration using this. And I've been showing it to you with the Bluetooth adapter, but it also works with a USB OTG adapter. And in case you don't know, a USB OTG adapter lets devices like your flight controller hook up to your phone. And you can get one of those. I've got a link to one down on Amazon if you want to go get that one, or if you already have one. You just plug basically directly into your USB cable on your flight controller, and you don't even need the Bluetooth adapter if you don't want one. However, it's worth pointing out that because of restrictions that Apple puts on iPhone devices, iPhones can't use the USB OTG adapter. They have to use the Bluetooth interface. Android has the option. And whether you choose to use the Bluetooth or not, I mean, Bluetooth lets you sort of land, pull out your phone, easily, quickly connect, configure without even picking up the quad to plug in. And there's a little bit of convenience there. But some of you are saying, I don't want a Bluetooth radio transmitting on 2.4 gigahertz. Well, won't it interfere? And that's a feature that RunCam has also thought of. They give you the ability to flip the Bluetooth on or off when you arm or disarm the quad. And when we go over to the desk, to the computer, I'm going to show you how to do that. In fact, let's go do that now. And here we are in the Betaflight Configurator, and I'm going to show you how to set it up to use the Speedybee Bluetooth adapter. For those of you who don't want to use the Bluetooth adapter and just want to use the USB OTG adapter, in other words, you're going to just plug a USB cable into your flight controller when using the app, you can skip this whole section. You're all good. Here's how you set up the Speedybee adapter. You're going to go to the Ports tab in Betaflight, and you're going to go to the UART that you connected the Speedybee adapter to. In my case, that's UART 3. I connected the Speedybee adapter to pads TX3 and RX3 on the flight controller. That's TX3, RX3, UART 3. Yeah, you get it. You're going to enable the configuration/MSP option for that UART, and you're going to change the baud rate to 19200. You'll want to make sure that nothing else is enabled on that line. And if anything was enabled there, you'd have to disable it. And you might have to want to check on this before you start soldering it up. So you make sure you solder it to a UART that's not used for anything else. Like, for example, notice that my flight controller has UART 4 set to ESC sensor input by default. And so I wouldn't want to use that for the Speedybee. It's already taken up by something else. We'll save this. And then that is actually all you need to do to get the Bluetooth adapter working. It's now working. But what if you want to take advantage of that functionality that lets you disable the Bluetooth when you arm the quad? Here's how to do that. First thing you need to do is you need to go to this web page, and you need to see if you can figure out what pin you're going to use on your flight controller to control the Bluetooth adapter. So the Bluetooth adapter has the BLE switch pin. It is the white wire coming out of the plug header, and that is going to be connected to some pad on your flight controller that's going to be used to turn the adapter on and off. Now, if your flight controller is here, you can verify which pin is available to use. The one they suggest using is motor output 5 if your flight controller has one. My flight controller, the one I'm using, is not here. And in fact, it's probably a fair, you can see there's only a few flight controllers here. So there's a fair chance you might need to do some trial and error. I am going to go with the LED strip pad because the goal here is that this pin needs to be able to support single wire soft serial. Well, don't worry about what that is if you don't already know. But the bottom line is I've almost always, if not always, found that the LED strip pad on my flight controllers, on all the flight controllers I've used, can support this function. That's the one I'm going to try to use. Back in Betaflight, I'm going to go in the command line and I'm going to type resource. And I'm going to look for the resource LED_strip. And I'm going to make note of the fact that LED strip is on pin B06. Now that is the resource I'm going to choose to reassign, and I'm going to use that instead to turn my Bluetooth adapter on and off. Of course, I'm going to lose the ability to use programmable LEDs when I do that. So if that was something you cared about, you'd want to pick some other pin. And actually, this flight controller doesn't have a ton of available pins to try. I bet it would work on the PPM pin. I'm not sure where that's even broken out. Yeah, this flight controller doesn't actually have a ton of spare pins, so I hope it works on LED strip. If not, I might have to forego this, or I don't know, get extra creative. Anyway, let's see if it works. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to enter some commands from this is in the little sheet of paper that comes with the Speedybee adapter, and I'm going to resist the urge to explain what all this stuff is. There's a function in Betaflight called PinIO and PinIO box, which are used to set up custom communications like talking to this Bluetooth adapter. Here's what we're going to do. Set PinIO config equals 129.111. Good. Good. Seems to have worked. And again, I'm just copying these straight from the sheet of paper that came with the Busy adapter. So if you're not getting them here, you can get them there. Now I'm going to do resource LED strip none. And that is, if you're not using LED strip, if you're using some other resource like Motor 5, you would substitute that here. And we will do resource LED strip was on pin B06. So
inactivity alarm.
Thank you, Tyrannus. Okay, that should do it. And then we just type save, and
inactivity alarm.
it should mean, let's just test it. It should mean that now when we disarm, the Busy Bee turns off. Oh, hush yourself. Let me just test it here. So here I am in the Speedybee app. I'm connected to the Speedybee adapter. The blue light is on, and you can see that if I arm the quad here with my transmitter, I get this notification, and in 10 seconds, it'll automatically disconnect and power down. Now I can hit stay connected manually, or I can let it time out. And now it's disconnected, it's powered off, the blue light has gone off, and if I scan, I don't see the Speedybee adapter there at the top of the list. So now that I'm flying, I'm not getting any interference from the Bluetooth adapter. If I disarm the quad, it immediately appears there at the top of the list. And I don't know what RunCam has done to get their Bluetooth so snappy and reliable, but I've had really good results with it so far. Just it comes right up. There's no sort of scanning and not finding and power cycling. I'm really impressed with it so far. If I'm not connected to it, by the way, when I arm the quad, this blue light has gone on here, I'm armed. It powers down and shuts down. It still shows up at the top of the list unless you refresh. Now it's gone, but you can't connect to it. It's powered down immediately if you're not connected to it at the time that you are. There you go. That is the Speedybee app from RunCam, and the Speedybee Bluetooth adapter lets you configure your Betaflight flight controller in the field over Bluetooth, or if you've got an Android device, just by plugging in USB. You don't even have to add anything. Just go download the app. I think is it free? I think it's free. I just downloaded it and started using it. Why aren't you using it? Just go plug your USB OTG adapter and USB OTG adapter. Link in the video description. Go buy one. Just start using this app to program Betaflight in the field. Stop bringing your laptop with you if you don't want to. I mean, I see guys out there with like Windows Surface tablets, $1,000 laptops, carrying them around in the field just to configure your stupid little flight controller. Come on, does that make sense? Just bring this thing with you. This is kind of expensive too, come to think of it, but at least it's more durable than a laptop. I wouldn't do that with a laptop. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks to RunCam for sending me this adapter and for telling me that this freaking thing existed. I didn't even know. Leave any questions you've got down in the comments. Happy flying.